Powerhouse crystal this week, Ajoite in quartz. I can definitely say that Ajoite, along with selenite and a couple of others, is certainly one of my favorite crystals. I have been working pretty consistently with Ajoite for a few years, and the psychic and spiritual activation and opening that has come from working with that crystal has just been absolutely tremendous and really kind of life-changing and very healing for me. It's a powerful crystal on many levels. This is a really big chunk of quartz that has a number of smaller Ajoite inclusions, and that's what I'm going to be channeling from today. So let's hop into the crystal sphere and see where this takes us. Woo! Ajoite, again, is another one of those really high frequency crystals that hits you right away. I think it's actually one of the highest frequency crystals we have on the planet. For those of you who are Lord of the Rings fans or junkies, I've always felt, well, the Hobbit, from the Hobbit story anyway, I've always felt that Ajoite may very well be what inspired the Arkenstone, or that didn't inspire it per se, but that sort of connects with that level of power and majesty and mythos, this heart of the earth. And that's really what's coming through right now. This is so the heart of the divine feminine, the feminine mysteries, the feminine mystic. And again, in an inclusive discussion, because we're talking about energy, we're certainly not talking about gender. I always see, and I'm seeing this right now, it's so beautiful, for those of you who are priestesses of Avalon, followers of the Avalon mythos and lore. It always evokes this image of this beautiful blue cloak, like this mantle cloak, and this priestess blue color that, I'm getting chills, that I've always associated myself with Avalon, because I most certainly am walking that path. I wouldn't call myself a priestess per se, but I'm certainly walking that path. It's in my soul DNA and in my heart. So again, this idea of entering the mysteries, the mystic, the deeper aspects of ourself, but in a way that is ascending, that is ascension. It's raising us into higher frequencies of potential and power in terms of who we are. It's deeply healing, especially emotionally, despite all the power, and despite it being encased in quartz, which will amplify, of course, the frequencies of Ajoite. It is such a beautiful, loving, there's a maternal energy, but there's also that kind of kick-ass maternal energy, which is very protective. And I'm being shown how, as again, massive chills, as the frequency of this crystal raises our frequency, anything lower, darker, harmful energetically that's on our aura, or that's even parasitically attached to us in elemental or spirit form, it can't handle this frequency. It's just completely repelled. Cords are severed. So especially for those of you who feel like you've got karmic cords, or like past life, either past life, because karma can also be generated, of course, in this lifetime it is, that you feel like you've got stuff, following around, that's plaguing you, that's cursing you, whatever it might be. This is a badass crystal to wear, because it basically says, get out of here. It just clears it off. It's just completely mutually incompatible. It's like, I'm seeing this visual of garlic and vampires. Like, just forget about it. Doesn't work. And so it's just beautiful. And now I'm seeing how it's like it's opening access into my heart. and my heart chakra. It's almost like this beautiful golden key that's opening up into the golden healer frequency that's in our hearts, and allowing ourselves to come into a more loving, more empowered place. And this word of empowered place of majesty, this word majesty comes through, but it's coming into, again, sort of the deeper aspects of ourselves, like the secrets, the hidden and veiled secrets of ourselves, of the world that we live in, but in a really magical way. I'm seeing this image of, a person who has this beautiful, it looks like a silver bowl filled with spring water, and under a full moon, and it's like the water is just completely still, and then they like tap it either with, that could be a wand, it could be their finger, and as the ripples happen, images form. For those of you who are psychics, who are mystics, who do scrying, who do divination, and a really key thing that's coming through here right now is for the highest good. This is a crystal whose frequency cannot be abused. It cannot be misused, and that's really important because it brings up the issue of free will. The more that we get into our magical selves, the more that we get into co-creation, the more that we get into our spiritual powers, there's a reminder that everyone has their own free will, and this sanctity of not violating boundaries or seeking to manipulate others, seeking to see into others' private, inner spaces and thoughts and spiritual information that's none of your business. Ajoite doesn't allow access to that. It's so high frequency. This is goddess energy, and not goddesses in terms of how we may relate to specific goddesses in terms of personality, in terms of name, in terms of, a type of devotion or worship. This is the goddess, the female aspect of God or source, whatever term you choose to espouse that speaks to your heart. This is that frequency incarnate in crystal. And again, what I'm seeing is that it's so spiritual, it's so high powered, but it's also, it really kick-ass. Like it's really, that calling inside of all of us, and it can be a warrior calling in terms of going out into the world, making change, making difference, making it better, because there is a desperate calling and it needs to be answered. But what it's showing me is it begins from within. It begins from our own process of healing, our own process of revolutionizing our lives, and then being able to embody that and to go out and to be of service to others, because service is never about us being perfect, being gurus. It's about the commitment, the devotion to the process within and then without, and just activating all these psychic sensors and synapses, in my brain, in my mind, in my psychic center, just how easily and clearly I'm able to see things, channel. It's just really rather amazing. And I'm being shown just even like as someone wearing a circlet with a bit of Ajoite, like sort of hanging from the circlet or whatever, right over the third eye, and how it activates the pineal and pituitary glands and just fires up that whole chakra. So this is an incredible crystal for people who are spiritual leaders, who are spiritual guides, mediums, psychics, healers, people who are wanting to embrace that part of themselves, activate that part of themselves. This is a very different kind of activation, vibration, and frequency from that of Moldavite. Very, very different. This is smooth. This is goddess. This is just something that's really high and pure. And I'm feeling this starting to wind down now. So there we go. Whoa, Ajoite, I love thee. And so I hope that some of you were able to tune into that you were able to receive that healing frequency, because trust me when I say energy, frequency, healing, invitation, and access to consciousness knows no boundaries, whether it's time, whether it's space, whether it's distance, whether it's digital or in person. So thank you, bless you, and I will see you all soon.